Hi everyone, my name is Megan Tovar. I am super excited to be a part of the JA conference this year. I am a certified personal trainer and fitness coach who specializes in helping women with arthritis and other types of chronic joint pain reach their fitness goals. And honestly, fitness is something that's very, very important to me. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was 18 years old. And during that time, I was really into working out. I was really into fitness, into running. So it was obviously very devastating and a big adjustment when I had to, completely stop all of that. And it was definitely a learning process getting back into it. But honestly, fitness has not only helped me physically with, building strength and improving my mobility and my overall health, but it's also helped me a lot mentally because I find that fitness is just a big stress reliever. Working out, releases all those endorphins and all of that good stuff. I'm sorry if you hear noise in the background. My dog Rosie is here and I did not want to lock her in a room today. So she's going to be joining us a little bit. So I would love to take you all through a little bit of a workout. Feel free to follow along, try the workouts out or the exercises out if you would like. And, just kind of sit back if you want to and learn about how to work out around your limitations, how to modify. Slow tempo eccentric training is something that I'll be talking about as well, which is super, super helpful when it comes to, patients with RA as well as other types of arthritis. And it's helped me a lot too, because the RA has affected my knees a lot. So this has been huge for me. So without further ado, I will just kind of position my laptop. There we go. Okay, we got that. So the first thing, hi guys, the first thing I want to take you guys through is a little bit of a warm up. The first thing that I really like doing when it comes to, especially before lower body exercises, is marching. So we'll march for about 30 seconds here, and I'll just count in my head. So the goal of this is basically to activate your muscles while also just improving the mobility, kind of like getting the kinks out almost of your joints, which is something, we all kind of deal with, especially if you work out in the mornings. So a little bit here. And don't be afraid to slow down the pace or don't go as high. The point is just to keep moving and, go at your own pace. All right, and the next one is going to be a dynamic hip flexor stretch. So just position that there. I absolutely love this one because my hip flexors get very, very tight. So basically what you want to do is stretch here. Make sure your pelvis is tilted a little bit forward. And then just come forward like this so you really feel the stretch right in this area. We'll do that a little bit. This really, really helps with lower back pain as well. A lot of people struggle with lower back pain and they don't realize that it could be because of hip tightness. Hello, Rosie. All right, hopefully you guys can see me. We'll switch to the other side. Yes, I know. You just want to be included in everything. Okay. And you can also put padding under your knee if it ever feels uncomfortable. I know that sometimes when you're, stuck in a house with hard surfaces, that can be a little bit, painful for the knees. So you can definitely put a pillow or a towel or something under so that way you're not feeling that much. Okay. Awesome. So we get some more hip mobility going there. The next thing I want to do is a little bit of standing RDLs as a warm up. So let's see. We can move this out of the way really quick because we're definitely going to need a little bit of room for this one. So what you want to do, here, you guys can't see me. Probably be a little bit better if you could see my head. So you want to stand neutrally, and you can use assistance if you would like to. You don't have to. I would not recommend using weight for this one at all, just because it's a warm up. What you want to do, slowly come down. Feel that stretch in your hamstrings, but keep a slight bend in the knees. So you don't want to completely lock your knees out with this one. My hamstrings are super tight today, so yeah, we feel it. And with this one, again, you can use assistance if you have to hold on to something. You can definitely do that. The goal is just to kind of practice that hinging at the hips movement, as well as, you know, obviously warming up the hips. But if you can, and if you want to challenge yourself, then you can definitely. Usually I go for about 10 reps on each side, but we're just going to keep going for a little bit longer. All right, so now we got that out of the way. I hope that we're all a little bit more warmed up. Now I want to kind of jump into a little bit of the lower body exercises. And we'll do upper body as well as some core, just to kind of get a whole body experience, or full body, I guess I should say, experience. But again, feel free to rest longer if you need to. Definitely go at your own pace. A big thing that I recommend is, if you're not able to do the full range of motion for an exercise, don't be afraid to go halfway. Like we'll do that for half squats. Because you're still going to get, you know, the movement in, you're still going to be activating the muscles a little bit. I'm already out of breath. We just warmed up. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is actually a single leg balance. So here, I'll position this down a little bit, because what we want to do here, you want to balance on one leg. So this is really going to help your stability. I know a lot of people with arthritis struggle with like ankle stability or knee stability, so this is really going to help that. And it obviously looks very easy, but the longer you do it, the more you feel the burn in this leg. So we're gonna hold this for, you know, about 30 seconds. And another thing you can do too is bend the leg just a little bit. You don't have to do this, but if you would like to, if you kind of want to feel more of a burn in your quads, a good way to really focus on that knee stability would be to bend the leg just a tad. Okay, so don't go into like a full pistol squat or single leg squat, just kind of lower down just a little bit. Remember to, when you do lower down, remember to just sit your hips back. Don't go too much forward. We'll switch to the other side. Oh, I feel that. It's been a while since I've done these. But yeah, this really, really helps with, you know, building that stability, activating those muscle fibers that are responsible for stabilizing your body. So this is a really, really good warm-up exercise. I usually have my clients do this before their workouts as well, just to kind of, you know, feel the muscles working, so you kind of get like a better mind-muscle connection. All right, so hopefully you feel a little bit of a burn there. The next thing we want to do are half squats. We're going to do 10 reps of these, okay? So nothing crazy. I really, really want you to go slowly during the eccentric or the lowering part of an exercise, okay? So that means is, well, I guess there are three phases of an exercise. The first one is an eccentric phase. So what that is basically the lowering phase of whatever exercise you're doing. For example, for a squat, it would be obviously lowering down here. The isometric phase is, you know, when it's all neutral and you're kind of in a static position. And then the eccentric phase is when you're coming back up. So you're kind of fighting against gravity. So what slow eccentric training is using a slow tempo during the lowering phase of the exercise. So going for like 2 to 3 seconds. We're going to do half squats again. So what that is you're going to go halfway down. You're not going to go all the way down unless you absolutely want to. But I know with arthritis and with knee pain, it can be tough. So we're going to do half squats. So we're going to lower 3, 2, 1. Hold for 1 second and then come up normally. Don't come up super fast. Don't lock your knees out. Just want to 3, 2, 1, and then up. 3, 2, 1. Up. There's 3, 4. Good. There's 5. We're halfway there. Go 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe you find that you can get a little bit lower towards the end. 10. So, woo. So the benefits of using slow eccentric training, especially when it comes to lower body exercises, is that it helps to put the muscles under tension for a longer period of time, while not putting as much pressure on the joints themselves. Because I know that joint pain can happen, you know, obviously with heavy loads, but also with fast-paced movement. So if you're like constantly going like up and down, that can put a lot of strain on the knees, just from overuse and just, you know, that repetitive high impact activity. So it really helps to build that stability around the knee and put more of that impact on the muscle instead of the joint itself. So yeah, half squats. Woo, good job, guys. The next one I have on my list here is leg extensions. So you can do this seated, you can do this standing if you really want to. I am going to use this chair. So you can use a band to actually wrap. Here, I'll use a band. I wasn't going to because I thought it might take too much time. Oh my goodness, Rosie. But I will do it because I know it can be kind of confusing just figuring out where to position the band. So you want it to be right in front of your shin or your ankles. And it stands a little bit loose, but we're going to go for it. So you want to sit here. I recommend using probably a lower sitting chair, sorry. But what you're going to do is lift your leg up and extend out. I'm going to do 10 on each side here. This one, you should feel it in your quads. This is like a quad isolation exercise, and it's very, very good for building more stability around your knees because obviously the quads kind of surround your knees. There's 5. And if you can't go all the way up, don't want to lock your leg out. You don't want to hyperextend or anything like that. You just want to go until you feel the contraction of your quad. And you can hold for a few seconds as well, just to really get, you know, that tension on the muscle for a longer period of time. So you can really, you know, stimulate growth and strength. I had like a brain fog moment. Okay. 10. Awesome. We'll do the other side here. All right. So again, you don't have to go, you don't have to go through the entire range of motion because this exercise can put a lot of pressure on your knees. You know, some people advise not to do this. So obviously all of this depends on your body, your limitations, you know, whatever your doctor suggests. I know everybody's, you know, joints are very differently impacted by arthritis. So just do what you can. A good modification for this exercise would be static quad holds, which I'll show you in just a minute. They're very easy to do pretty much anywhere you're at. And a lot of people do them in physical therapy, actually. So very helpful in just increasing that quad strength a little bit. And as you can tell, I have never done a recorded workout session before, so please bear with me. Yeah, we're just going for it today. Like, I don't know, I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. We'll get rid of that for right now. Move the chair. So when it comes to static quad holds, what you want to do is sit on the ground, and you're going to do, I recommend to do one leg at a time. What you're going to do is contract your quad by kind of pushing down a little bit and then releasing. So you can do this for like 3 seconds, you can hold for 5 seconds. It really depends on what you can do and what you want to do. And that's another thing too, is when it comes to working out with arthritis, you want to focus on the things that you can do, okay? Don't focus on the things that you cannot do. I know that there's a lot of workouts out there that, you know, are not made for people with arthritis. And when we, you know, see an exercise that we just cannot do, we just want to give up. You absolutely do not have to give up. That's what modifications are for. So that's what we're doing today. One more. All right, so that was a modification if you weren't able to do the leg extensions. See here. Okay, sorry guys. Now we're going to do some glute bridges. So obviously this is for your booty, your glutes. I'm gonna try to activate these bad boys. So what you want to do is lay flat, have your hands down here. You want to have your knees at like a 90-degree position, probably. If you can, again, if you can. If you can't, then definitely modify. But what we're going to do is lift our glutes up and then lower back down. So another thing that's important to know when you're doing, you know, squats, glute bridges, whatever it is make sure, like for lower body exercises, that your feet and your knees are pointed in the same direction. So if your knees are pointed out slightly, make sure that your feet are as well, because you don't want them the opposite directions. That can cause a lot of problems. And we're going to do 10 of these. I think we're at 4. 5. This is really good, not only for activating your glutes, which can take the impact off of your lower back, but it's also really good for your core too. And it gets harder the more you do it. It looks so easy, but if you're slowing down the tempo like you're supposed to, you can really, like, it's a workout, guys. One more, squeeze, and then lower down. Then crack the knees if you if you want to. If you need to. My knees do that all the time. I'm sure you guys can relate. The next thing or next phase we're going to go into is more of upper body exercises. So I recommend having a long resistance band if you have one, and then utilizing water bottles, dumbbells, whatever you can kind of get your hands on to do some of the or I think it's one exercise you'll need them for. So yeah, let's try it out. So when it comes to upper body exercises, I know a lot of people deal with wrist pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain, you know, the upper body joints in general. So if you have wrist pain, a good tip that I always say to do is using wrist wraps, sorry, not wrist straps, wrist wraps. Basically, they are going to be a wrap that you put around your wrist to really increase that stability and really help you be able to handle more impact without, you know, hurting yourself. Those are super, super beneficial, especially if you have any joint damage at all. Another thing is, like, if you're having a lot of hand pain or finger pain, using gloves, lifting gloves can help a lot. There are some specifically made for people with arthritis, but I mean, you can kind of use whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you want to try, as long as they have, you know, a good grip in the glove. You should be, you know, pretty good to go, because I know that that can, you know, really take a lot of the pressure off the hands when you can have a little bit more gripping power there, because I am having trouble with my grip lately in my hands, so I can definitely relate. Anyways, we'll get right into it. Where is my band? Okay, so the first exercise we're going to do, and this isn't going to work at all because we need it to be untied, so that way we can use the full length of the band, or some of the length, whatever, fine. Make sure you're holding the band like equally, so you're not, you know, way over here on this side. Just kind of want it to be as equal as possible. What you're going to do is make sure you're standing straight, your spine neutral, you're not like arching your back too much, or you're not like over here. You want to just be as neutral as possible, and that's with every exercise too. But what we're going to do is pull apart. This is what they're called, band pull aparts. And we'll do 10 of these. What you want to do is really feel this in your lats. So you kind of want to go slowly, pause a little bit when you squeeze in your shoulder blades, and then release with your arms straight out. So I think we're on 5. So we're about halfway there. Also, when you do this, you don't have to lock out your elbows. I don't recommend to lock out your elbows because that can just cause more strain. Grab 9 and 10. Good. So we did the band pull aparts. The next thing we're going to do are wall push-ups. I will need to position this laptop in a place where you can see me doing a wall push-up. So let's hold on just a second here. Okay, so wall push-ups. This is a really good modification if you're not able to do a regular push-up, or if you're not really able to do a kneeling push-up. This is going to be a great alternative because you're not going to be putting so much weight on your wrist. know can be, a little bit difficult, especially if you're dealing with pain or elbow pain or even shoulder pain. So what you want to do is position your hands about shoulder in line with your shoulders, and you want to step back a little bit. Make sure your spine is neutral, and make sure also your hands are like at your chest. And then you want to lower and then push up. So we'll do about 10 of these. All right, this really helps you to get that like push-up movement in and activate your chest muscles and your shoulders. 4, 5, 6. See, these exercises may look easy, but when you're slowing them down, they are not that easy. 8, 9, and 10. All right, so good job. I will position my laptop around so that way we can keep going. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a standing row with the band. So we want to be doing a row like this. And what I'm going to do is wrap this around the door here. And then you want to hold the band however it's comfortable. I'll stand where you guys can kind of see. Make sure again that you're standing straight, and you want to pull in like that. So make sure you're going slow, keeping your elbows by your sides like this, if you can see it. We'll do 10. And kind of squeeze your shoulder blades at the top of the movement. Good. 8, I think. 9. Last one. 10. Good. So that one was pretty easy. Like, it's kind of self-explanatory, some of these movements. They're pretty easy to master once you get the hang of it, which is really nice. Let some light back in here. And the next thing I want to do is front to side raises. These are for your shoulders. These are to help strengthen your shoulders without pushing overhead, because I know a lot of people with arthritis can have problems with pushing things above their head, with shoulder pain or even like neck problems. So we're going to do something a little bit different. And I'll grab my little water bottle. I'm going to use these as weights. You can use water bottles as weights. I really recommend it for this one because this is actually pretty tough once you get going. So use something very, very light, or if you don't have anything, just do it without weights. Or if you want to try with weights, you can. Totally up to you. But we're going to do 10 of each. Front raise, so straight out in front of you, like this. Okay, and we're gonna do 10 lateral raises or side raises, like I like to call them. And what you want to do for this one is make sure your elbows are in line with your shoulders. So you're not lifting like this, you're lifting with your pinkies pointed up almost. Maybe like that. So we'll get into it. Okay, so we'll do 10 of each, so 20 total. We'll go 1, 2, good, 3. And you can also make sure not to go above parallel too much or at all, really. 6, because that can cause some hyperextension, which, we don't want. It's not necessary. 10, we're halfway there, guys. Keep going. Good. $15. It gets hard once you get going. 19 and 20. Good. So that is a really good exercise to strengthen your shoulders if you have trouble doing, your everyday overhead press or shoulder press. You can still strengthen your shoulders. So again, focus on what you can do, not on the things you cannot do, because that's how you're going to keep going in your fitness routine with arthritis. The next phase we're going to go into is core. Okay, so we're going to do only 3 core exercises, nothing too crazy, and they're all going to be modified. So I will position my laptop here so that way you can see me on the floor. So the first exercise, I always like starting with planks, guys. I'm so sorry. I know that everybody hates planks. I hate them too, but they're really, really good because they really target that stabilization, those stability muscles within your core, which is what you need to be activated in order to do the other exercises like crunches and, that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to do a plank. We're going to do 30 seconds. What we're going to do is a plank on your knees. So if you want to go on your feet like this, that is totally fine. But this is a really good modification too. So what you want to do, be on your elbows, make sure your spine is straight and your core is activated, and hold here. So we're going to hold for about 30 seconds. I know this angle is a little bit weird, but it's okay. Just make sure your back is straight. All right. And if you want to put padding under your knees, do that. That can help a ton. All right. Do about 15 more seconds here. So just make sure you're holding, make sure your back is straight, make sure you're not putting too much pressure on your upper body. Make sure it's like evened out proportionately throughout your, your lower body, your core, and your upper body. Because yes, a plank is a core exercise, but it truly works your full body. Okay. All right, so good job making it through the plank. Now we're going to do what I like to call hundreds. And these are done in Pilates usually. I love them. I think they're a really, really good exercise, especially if crunches can be, kind of painful with your neck or your back or anything. So we're going to lay down. You want your legs, you want your legs in a tabletop position, okay? Just making sure she doesn't attack me. You want to put your arms up here. Rosie, please. Rosie, go that way. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to do. Rosie, move. Rosie, move. Okay. Rosie, move. You guys really can't see me if she's in the way. Up, up. Okay, I'm gonna do this really fast. Tabletop position. Bring your head up, your shoulders up, and you want to move your arms up and down like this. Okay, so you're gonna have your core really engaged for this exercise. We'll do 10 more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so no, 7. That's what happens when you work out from home, guys. If you have a dog, you understand. So hundreds. Those are, that's a really good way to engage your core and kind of not engage like just your lower core, but also, the upper muscles of your abs. And they're a lot better than crunches, in my opinion, especially when you're working on that deeper stabilization. So the next one we're going to do is also on the floor where Rosie is, and it's a bent leg raise. These are a modification of a straight leg raise. So I'll show you a straight leg raise, and then I'll show you a bent leg raise and how it can be beneficial to kind of modify it. So what you want to do is lay down here. No. Okay. I'm just gonna pause this for just a second, guys. So sorry. Okay, I put Rosie in the office, so we should be good to go. Just for a little bit. So all over me. This is amazing. What a straight leg raise is you've probably seen these before. First of all, I always recommend to put your hand under your butt or your tailbone for a little bit more lower back support if you need it. But this is going to be a straight leg raise. You can have your head up or down, but we're going to do bent leg raises. So it can take a little bit of the pressure off of the hips, as well as the back. So it's just a little bit easier to manage. So we'll modify. We'll do 10 reps of these. So you want to really focus on bringing your legs up into your core. So not like this, but like this. 6, 7, and you might hear your hips pop a little bit. And as long as it doesn't hurt, you should be okay. I have it all the time. 10. Awesome. So that exercise targets the lower muscles of your abs a little bit more specifically. So that is a really good way to kind of target those muscles without putting as much pressure on your hips or even your knees. So that concludes the workout, and great job, guys. You made it through. I'm so proud of you. So what we're going to do now are some stretches. I'm just going to take you through like my go-to stretching routine, okay? So if you can't complete it totally, like I will show you a little bit of modifications, but we'll just kind of go through it, especially for your lower body, because I know that can get very tight sometimes. What we're going to do is do a static hip flexor stretch. So kind of like the dynamic one that we did, except we're going to stay in that stretched position. I always recommend to hold stretches for at least 30 seconds at a time, because that's how long it usually takes for the muscle fibers to fully relax. Okay, it may take a little bit longer for some people sometimes, and that's okay too. Just make sure to hold for at least 30 seconds at a time. It is very important to stretch when you have arthritis or really any type of chronic joint pain, because what can happen is when your muscles are in a shortened length, or when they're contracted after a workout and they can still be a little bit tight, that tightness can actually pull on the joints and cause a little bit more pain. So if you've noticed, like if you've ever worked out or walked a lot and then all of a sudden you sit down, like if you have a sedentary job during the day and you sit down for a long time, you get back up and you find that your knees are hurting, it can be because your quads or your hamstrings or both are pulling at your knee a little bit because they do connect there. So yeah, it can kind of tighten everything up and cause a little bit more pain that way. So we don't want that. We don't need any more pain. So it's very, very important to stretch if you can. And hold this one a little bit longer. Honestly, stretching changes my whole day. I wake up with really, really bad stiffness in the morning. And after I do the stretching routine, I'm pretty much good to go. But you know, like everybody's very different when it comes to their joint pain. But for me, this is life changing. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is a kneeling quad stretch. So you've probably seen this in yoga. It's pretty common. I don't remember the actual name for it, but this is how I stretch my quads because I don't like the standing quad stretch. It doesn't do much for me for some reason. So this is how I stretch my quads. Don't do this if you're not able to, but if you are, this is a good thing to try. Or you do your, static hip flexor stretch too. But this really, really targets the quads. And again, I always recommend hold for at least 30 seconds here. Whew. We work today, guys. We need to stretch. Don't forget to stretch. Don't just blow it off at the end of your workout and be like, oh, I'm just gonna do it later, or I'm not gonna do it today. I don't need to do it. You do need to do it no matter what. Because that tightness can cause a lot more problems later on. We'll do the other side. My hips get very, very tight. So that's why this is a must for me to do. And if you wanted to, if you have a strap, you can strap it around your ankle and hold it that way as well. And if you want to put padding under your knees, you can always do that too. Oh. All right, so I'm gonna do hamstring stretch, okay? I really, really like this stretch. This you're going to feel in your hamstrings, a little bit in your glutes, and probably your lower back as well, depending on how you do it. You don't have to lock your knee out, okay? Make sure you still have that bend and you're kind of anchored here. And you're just kind of leaning forward as you're able to and stretching that way. And I will also show you a modification for this if you cannot do this, because I know that this can be really tricky if you are just starting to stretch regularly and if you have very tight hamstrings. My hamstrings are always very tight, so that's why I like this stretch a lot. Yeah, you just kind of want to then just really feel that stretch back here. It is amazing, let me tell you. Hold for about 30 seconds or so. I'm not going to hold for 30 seconds here because I want to show you guys a modification for this too. For all of you waiting. Okay. When we come up, I always like to give my, my, what is it? give my lower back a chance to like adjust a little bit, my lower vertebrae, because like your hips can connect to your lower vertebrae. So if your hips are really, really tight, it can pull on your lower back and cause lower back pain. And the key is to really kind of open up that area if you're having pain, or that can help at least. So I like to give my lower body, kind of a minute to my pelvis to adjust and, kind of get back in place a little bit. But a modification for that hamstring stretch is your classic laying down hamstring stretch. So you're pulling up here. Some people like to pull from your lower leg, and some people like to pull from here. It really depends on your own range of motion and what you're able to do. And you can see my hamstring shaking, like, or not my hamstring. You can see my legs shaking from this stretch, like it always does. Only with this stretch does my leg like shake like that. We'll slowly lower and up again. If you wanted to feel more of a stretch, you can point your toes down a little bit, or at least pointed in that direction. So that way you really feel back here a little bit more. You wanted to deepen it. All right. So another stretch that I really like to do, and that's a really good modification if you're not able to do it laying down, is a seated glute stretch. So what you want to do is cross your leg over, make sure your foot is like right above your knee, and you're in line, and you just want to bend forward. Kind of push your knee down a little bit as you're able to. Don't cause any pain. Don't force yourself through any stretch, okay? Don't force it. Just go as far as you can go comfortably, and you'll build up from there. But this is a really good one. I know that you've probably seen people doing this laying down or like bringing their leg up, but this is a really good substitution if you're not able to do that yet. You can hear my knees crack, so good sign that we're doing it. Okay. And then we'll do some upper body stretches. We'll do a couple of them. For time's sake, I kind of want to get into a little bit more of a introduction, a little bit more of a conversation on how to implement fitness when it comes to arthritis. So make sure to leave some time for that too. All right. So some upper body stretches, or a couple of them, are, the standing rear delt stretch, which I absolutely love. I actually do have hypermobility as well, especially in my shoulders. So this one can be a little bit tricky to feel sometimes, because if I do it in a certain way, my shoulder just kind of like pops out and I don't really feel the stretch that I'm supposed to. But if you do it right and you know your body and you practice, it'll be fine. You kind of loosen up there. Do the other side. My shoulders are tight as well today. I need to get a massage. Again, like massages are amazing, okay, when you have arthritis and you're working out, because like I said, you don't want that muscle tightness to cause more joint pain. So it feels so good to get a massage and kind of release all of that extra tension too. All right, so we'll do a little bit of a wrist or forearm stretch. So bringing your hand up here, if you can do this one. I know that some people might have joint damage and you're not able to bend your wrist like this. Don't do it if you can't do this one. Because we'll do it the other way as well. And I know this can help a lot for people who have some wrist pain. And again, sometimes it can be exacerbated a little bit from having a lot of tightness in your forearms or like your biceps or your triceps. So it's really important to try to make sure things are loosened up a little bit. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for going through this workout with me. I'm going to pause the recording again, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, as well as why you should benefit, or why you should implement fitness into your lifestyle and the benefits that can come from it. So we'll just look here. We'll pause it for just a second. Hello, thank you guys so much for going through that workout with me. I hope that helped a little bit, or at least got you moving. Movement is so important when you have arthritis. Like it is, like exercise is truly medicine. Like it can be a part of your treatment plan. Well, that and like the nutrition and just overall self-care, taking care of your mindset, your stress management, all of that good stuff mixed together is just a recipe for awesomeness. But I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my journey with RA and my fitness journey as well. So like I said, I think I mentioned before, I was 18 when I was diagnosed. I was into running, I was into working out, and I had to stop all of that when I was diagnosed with RA, because you can't do that stuff when you are in pain and just swollen and inflamed all of the time. And it took me a while, but I eventually got to the point where I just didn't want to give myself the option to totally give up on fitness, because it was already something that I was passionate about. And it really, well, first of all, it takes a little bit of a different approach into fitness when you have rheumatoid arthritis or really any type of chronic joint pain. You have to learn how to adapt to what you can do day by day. A lot of times chronic illnesses can change, kind of constantly or regularly. Like one day it can be really easy to do that workout. The next day it's not that easy. So you have to really listen to your body and adapt your fitness routine to what you can do consistently. One other thing that I highly recommend to do is balancing your stress levels. This was a huge one for me, because when I felt like I was, at a mentally really high stress level, I would exercise a lot more, which put me at a physically high stress level. And those mixed together in a really high stress is not a good thing, especially for those of us with autoimmune conditions, because our bodies are super sensitive to stress, and our bodies respond the same way to both high physical stress and high mental stress, and it can throw us into a flare-up. So if you are, for example, in a situation or a time in your life where mental stress is extremely high and there's not much you can do about it, bring your physical stress down a little bit, okay? Like focus more on movement for your overall health and well-being rather than like pushing yourself, okay? vice versa. If you're like, I guess if you're, physically just really, really stressed and you're having to do, more physical things, if you're at work or if you're moving to a different place, and obviously that takes a lot of physical stress, really take time to prioritize your mental health and your mental stress levels, okay? To try to reduce that as much as possible, because you don't want to throw yourself into a flare up. None of us wants that. But those are, a couple of things that I've learned throughout my journey. But strength training is super, super beneficial, guys. Like, if you haven't done it, highly recommend to at least try. I have gained a lot more strength and stability in my knees and my other joints. Overall, I'm able to do a lot more than I couldn't do before, like bend my knees over 90 degrees, like just simple things like that. I'm able to run without pain. Everybody's very, very different, but I've definitely experienced other people having, life-changing, overcoming their limitations and changing their lives as well. So highly recommend to try out strength training and working around your limitations. And if you need help with anything, I have a lot of tips on my Instagram page. It is at it's Megs with 2 Z's _fitness. So search me up on Instagram. I have a lot of content and a lot of tips for all of you. So thank you so much for having me here. I loved working with you guys. I hope you like the workout. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your time at the JA conference. Thank you so much. Bye.